Hello, welcome to Whether or Not. We've got a great show lined up for you today. As we'll have Marissa in the studio with your weekend forecast. We'll have Veronica with a feature on long-range weather forecasting, and we'll have excellent Nature in the News stories about Yemen and baseball. So sit back, relax, because Whether or Not starts right now. Thank you for tuning in to Whether or Not. I'm your host, Brian Mastro.
And I'm your forecaster, Marissa Lautenbacher.
So we've had some pretty warm weather these past couple of days here in State College. How long will that be lasting?
Well, better enjoy that warm weather right now because, unfortunately, it's going to end on Friday until a cold front comes on through and brings back our cooler temperatures, Brian.
Well, we'll be getting more into that fall-like weather certainly by this weekend. We'll have more on that later on for your forecast, but for now, let's check out some Nature in the News stories.
A country that has been ravaged by many months of war, Yemen has more to worry about with its first tropical cyclone on record. Tropical cyclone Chapala bore down on Yemen's coast this past Tuesday, with maximum sustained winds of 85 miles per hour. The wind factor isn't the largest problem, but the extraordinary amount of rainfall. The Arab Peninsula is normally dry and arid, in which it only gets 4 inches of rain per year. Compare that with State College, which gets that same amount of rainfall in the course of a month. Chapala is the equivalent of a Category 1 hurricane in the Atlantic. The amount of rainfall produced would be the same as getting years' worth of rainfall in a few days. The tropical storm brought flash flooding and severe debris-filled mudslides. Yemen is already in need of humanitarian aid from the widespread fighting, which has caused food, water, and medical supply shortages. Adding in the major amounts of rainfall and flooding concerns on top of that makes a devastating mix.
A new study has shown a link between climate and the development of human language. Linguists at the University of California at Berkeley have studied over 600 languages from around the world, and they believe they have found a connection between an area's climate and the language the people in that region speak. The study revealed that language developed in the warmer climates, such as Hawaii, flows smoothly with more vowels and fewer consonants, whereas languages from colder regions like Russia are very consonant-heavy and lack the fluidity from word to word and syllable to syllable. This phenomenon called acoustic adaptation is also prevalent in other species, such as birds. The study is ongoing, and they hope to see if this can also explain differing accents within the same language.
Many industries have taken hard hits due to the California drought, the craft brewing industry being one of them. Uniquely, California has more craft breweries than any other state in the country. Popularity of craft beers have been a big contributor to California's economy. The state has made $6.5 billion last year alone. California has been unable to keep up with the high demand since brewing means a high demand of water. On average, it takes 7 gallons of water to produce only 1 gallon of beer. Some breweries, such as the Benchmark Brewing Company, are taking different steps in securing water for their beers, going through the extra steps of recycling, cleaning, and filtering wastewater. This process can be expensive and tedious even for larger breweries. Unfortunately, smaller breweries will be strained since the equipment necessary to repurpose water is quite expensive. This might force them to move out of California into a region where water is more plentiful. Some relief from the El Niño may take place, as it's expected to drive much-needed rains and mountain snow. Even if the drought ends, many breweries still wish to practice water conservation since reducing water usage means saving money.
The 2015 Major League Baseball season has come to an end, and this season was particularly bad for MLB's relationship with weather. It all started on opening day when the Miami Marlins were plagued by a rain delay despite playing in a stadium with a retractable roof. Team officials say they never consulted with a meteorologist and relied solely upon weather apps to determine whether or not to close the roof. Major League Baseball has a major problem with how it handles weather. Once the game starts, any decisions regarding delays are in the hands of the umpires. who are too busy with the game to be able to track the weather. This leads games to going on during inclement weather and grounds crews being at risk while putting the tarp on the field. At a Pirates game in July, a grounds crew member got trapped in the tarp when wind picked it up and wrapped the tarp around him, and he needed to be rescued by Pirates players, putting those players at risk as well. Many other instances of MLB waiting until it is too late to delay the game occurred throughout the rest of the season, including another situation in Chicago when they waited too long and the field got too wet and made the tarp pull for the grounds crew very difficult. Going forward, Major League Baseball needs to overhaul how it handles weather. Currently, the Minnesota Twins are the only team to employ a meteorologist, and hopefully others will follow suit in 2016 and beyond.
Hello, I'm your forecaster, Marissa Lautenbacher, and here's looking at your Friday. So, start of our weekend, we will be having this cold front that'll be pushing on through. That'll be giving us some cooler temperatures for the start of your weekend. But Friday is the last day we'll have temperatures even into the 70s. Along with that rain, we will also have windier conditions, but that'll be moving off the coast starting on Saturday, but on Friday night we could still have some of those showers, but they'll be starting to leave on Saturday. And even on into Sunday, we'll have some beautiful sunshine as we will have a high pressure system moving and building on and giving us some beautiful weather for even the start of your next work week. But starting here on Friday, we'll have temperatures at 73 degrees, that last of our warm 70s that we've had from earlier on this week with those afternoon thunderstorms. And on Friday night, we'll have mostly cloudy conditions. Low temperatures will be at around 48 degrees. And even on your Saturday, we will have cloudier conditions from that cold front moving on through, but our temperatures will be in the upper 60s. But on Saturday, we won't be quite towards freezing point, but we'll be getting there at 38 degrees, staying mostly cloudy. But on your Sunday, that's when that beautiful sunshine will return and temperatures will return back towards average. And now here's Veronica with your feature.
7-day weather forecasts are a typical thing that you see on your local TV station. But have you ever gotten excited about a vacation you're going to take and possibly took a peek at the weather for your destination a month ahead? Monthly weather forecasts are different than a forecast for a few days ahead. But how different are they?
Meteorologists do not consider day-to-day forecasts for more than a week or 10 days ahead, and the best forecasts are for 5 days or less into the future. Predicting the weather more than 10 days ahead are considered long-range weather forecasts. Instead of trying to predict the day-to-day weather that far in time, forecasters produce generalized outlooks giving the odds of temperatures and precipitation being average, above average, or below average for days, months, or entire seasons. Generally, forecasters who make predictions months in advance rely on analog techniques, which means they look for patterns in the current weather, then find similar patterns in prior years. Their predictions are based on what happened in the past. In meteorology, one of the important implications is that small differences in the initial conditions of the atmosphere can lead to big differences in the weather. These differences can be too small to detect and can lead to big mistakes in weather forecasts. This is why scientists say that day-to-day forecasts of the weather for more than about 2 weeks ahead will never be possible. Today, 5 days is about the limit of useful day-to-day forecasts. And forecasts for 5 days ahead are slightly better than normals or climatology values. All weather forecasts begin with observations of what the weather is doing all over the world. These observations are then put in supercomputers that use mathematical models of the atmosphere to make predictions.
Whenever I check it, I go out and it just changes so much within the day that I've just sort of given up believing in it. Because I'll check it usually at 8 a.m. before class to figure out what I want to wear. and then by the time I'm in class throughout the day, it changes. Like, it's supposed to be a sunny day, and then it rains 5 hours that day, so I just sort of get...
Just because, like, nature's kind of fickle, you know? Sometimes it's like, it'll start raining, and then it'll, like, be cool, and, like, the weathermen are, like, humans, so they make mistakes, and they can't, like, really predict what... They can try their best just because of, like, science, but, like, at the end of the day, it's, like, nature will do what it wants type of thing.
In the United States, these computers are operated by the National Weather Service. The resulting forecasts are used by all-weather forecasters, both those with the National Weather Service, at private companies, and the Weather Channel. However, people still want to know the weather farther into the future. The key difference is that the long-range outlooks attempt to say whether the average temperature and precipitation will be above normal, below normal, or near normal. And these averages are for the entire period, not parts of it. Outlooks for the weather months ahead of time do not attempt to categorically say that places will be warm or cold, wet or dry. Instead, these outlooks are in terms of how the odds will be shifted.
Month's too far away. I don't usually look at the month. I guess unless you're planning to go for a vacation or something.
Well, I think the precipitation especially is really hard to tell. At such an accurate basis. I mean, I'm pretty sure data has shown that you can only reliably tell weather up to a 24-hour period, but my schedule wants to know what's the weather going to be for the game this weekend or something like that.
The United States National Weather Service's Climate Prediction Center and a few other organizations in other nations make monthly and seasonal predictions that give the odds for temperatures and precipitation. When you look at the Climate Prediction Center's monthly and seasonal forecast, you'll note that for many parts of the United States, both temperature and precipitation averages are too close to call. In general, long-range forecasts for temperature are inherently more accurate than those for precipitation. On the winter precipitation forecast maps, you'll note that only precipitation, not rain or snow, is predicted. Snow depends on the right combination of temperatures and moisture in the air. For many parts of the country, forecasters have a hard time predicting exactly where snow will fall 2 days ahead of time, much less a month or 3 months ahead of time. So why pay attention to long-range weather predictions when forecasters sometimes have difficulties predicting 2 days ahead of time? In recent years, scientists have learned more about various global weather patterns that affect long-term weather. This knowledge is helping improve long-term forecasts.
Thank you, Veronica, for your feature. And now here's looking at your weekend forecast. We will have those afternoon thunderstorms on Friday due to that cold front. Temperatures, this will be the last of our 70-degree temperatures. But we're talking about on Saturday, we will have the cooler and cloudy conditions. Our temperatures should be around 56 in the middle 50s, but they'll be getting back towards average on Sunday. That sunshine from Sunday will continue on even into Monday as our temperatures are getting back towards average, a little bit above, but not 70 degrees. And we will have that sunshine continuing from Tuesday to Wednesday and even on from Thursday. Friday starting to get a little bit cloudier as that sunshine starts to leave us.
Thank you for that forecast. We'll be dropping down to some more fall-like temperatures over the next week.
Yes, those temperatures will definitely start on Saturday as a cold front starts to move through. So enjoy the warmer weather while it lasts, Brian.
Yeah, that warm weather just hanging on for the last little bit for potentially a while here in State College. But now, earlier in the show, we asked you our weather whiz quiz question. Up to how many days are weather forecasts accurate? Is it A, 8 days or less, B, 5 days or less, C, 10 days or less, or D, 2 days or less? If you guessed B, 5 days or less, you're right. We had Veronica's feature earlier on in the show about those long-range weather forecasts, and a lot of people put too much faith in those, and they're not really that accurate, especially beyond those 5 days. And that's all we have for you this week. For Weather or Not, I'm your host, Brian Mastro.
And I'm your forecaster, Marissa Lautenbacher. Have a great day.